All right, guys, we're here with Shane. Shane, thanks for joining us. As you all know, if you have watched the previous videos, Shane is a good friend of ours and a Harley master tech, and been in the industry for a very, very long time. And if you ever want to know what someone like Shane would build his bike, well, here it is. No more scrolling on Facebook groups and seeing who's got what and what they're running. This is Shane's bike here. It's proven, it's been ridden, and yeah, it's a pretty cool thing, and it's definitely a dream bike of mine if I were to build one. So, Shane, starting from the front, what brakes we're running?
Got the Galfa rotors on.
Yep.
Actual, only a real kind of recent upgrade. The bike's done 34,000
Yep.
Ks, so the stock ones lasted, about 30k.
Yeah. Yep. And that was probably
Actual one set under warranty.
yeah, nice.
So yeah, 15k had a set of rotors I wasn't stoked on, but
And that's pretty hard riding as well.
Hard
bit
riding,
of
yeah.
bit of commuting, bit of probably I would say serious canyon riding, that they call it. And
yeah, pretty stoked with the Galfas. I changed the look of it. I know you're always keen to see a set of rotors on it.
yep.
Just makes it look a bit more sporty.
Yep. And performance-wise, like finger on the brake feel compared to stock ones.
Yeah, definitely like beating on it through the hills, like they don't fade.
Yep.
Haven't done any big long rollers on it
Yep.
yet, but yeah, even the stock ones held up doing big rollers,
Yep.
but
Just after they felt a
yeah,
bit hot. Yeah.
they got shudder and
Yep.
eventually, like
Yep.
it just got unbearable.
Yep. And moving back to the front suspension, what have you done? I know you've played around with the front. It's still the stand suspension from what I can see.
Yeah.
What have you done there?
So I tried a few different grades of oil, different viscosity to try
Yep.
and sort of slow the dampening. Also, I've modified the springs.
Yep.
The stock springs have got they're kind of like a progressive spring, but
Yep.
they've got like a soft portion, and then the bottom part of the stroke's stiffer.
Yep.
So I cut a big chunk of the soft portion off
Yep.
and made new preload spaces, and just fine-tuned it to work good in the hills.
Yep.
It's some of our back roads are like super choppy,
Yeah.
so in that instance it can be a bit harsh.
Yep.
So I'd love to be able to just like a couple of clicks
Yeah, a bit more
or
adjustment.
just back off the preloader here or there, but overall, like, the thing works good.
Yep.
I'd love a set of cartridges.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Set of nitrons to match the rear shock
Yep.
would be ideal, but it's another $1,200, isn't it?
Oh yeah. That's
But yeah, I'll get there, but pretty stoked with like call it a completed package really,
yep. And
as it sits.
you've recently just changed the bar and seat setup.
Yeah.
Now, just quickly reversing, before we had a Saddleman, and we had, let's call, a mid-bend bar with a 6.5-inch pullback. Is that
8
correct?
inch, 8 inch pulls,
Sorry,
yeah.
8-inch pullback. And what he's done is he's gone a more flatter bar, and we're running the
Lepera kick flip up front, so
Okay.
it's like the lumbar support is further forward, like almost 3 inches.
Yep, which is massive.
Yeah, so we sort of touched on it on our breakdown,
Yeah,
Softail versus Dyna. So I knew this seat was available. It's a big, chunk of money to buy another seat that I wasn't sure if I was going to love it.
yep,
So luckily enough, I get to work on everyone's bikes. Another mate of ours had a version of this seat
yep,
on his, so I got to road test it
yep,
and really, get a feel for it. Just puts me now like super like locked in,
yep,
squared off knees.
yep,
Whereas before I was like back a long way and I had to bring the bars back
yep.
to get my reach, but
You're kind of curling in with your
Yeah.
elbows. Yeah.
so now I'm really happy with the bar seat position now.
So in other terms, to go back on it just once more, before the settlement, you're sitting about, let's just call
Yeah, it
halfway.
was
of
even further, man. It was like,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we're talking the seats here and the bars are coming back. So all we're doing is from before we're moving everything forwards. The bars are flatter, so they're not as further back, so they're forwards, and the seat is forwards, putting more weight on the front, making it a bit easier for a fun time.
yeah, it makes
Drifts,
the
hills.
fun time drifts a bit
Yeah.
easier because the weight's where I wanted to be on the bike. I was always finding I'd have to scoot up on the front of the seat.
I do that all the time.
Yeah,
And you see heaps of stunt dudes, not that we're stunt guys, but you see people shuffle forwards a lot when they're doing something or doing a drift or in the hills, you're always having to shuffle forwards, but it would be pretty nice being able to just sit on the bike and ride the bike.
Yeah, well, the last couple of sort of hills runs we've done, like, I was almost muscle memory pulling myself forward. I went, no,
Slid
just
back.
sit, just let yourself sit back on the lumbar support.
Yeah.
And it was killer.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that.
Yep.
It took a little while to make the decision because the seat does look fat
Yeah.
just here, but man, like, I'm not looking at the seat when I'm riding it.
Yeah. I think it looks all right. I think it looks fine.
Yeah, I wanted the seat to put me where I wanted to be on the bike,
Yep. And
and it's got me there.
if there was anything with this setup that you weren't happy with the seat and bars, what's something that you could pick?
Honestly, right now, man, I'm stoked with it.
Yep.
Like the low beam bars, that seat. If I was being ultra fussy, I'd probably flatten off the ride a bit,
So you're sitting a bit
a
higher.
tiny bit, yeah.
Yep.
Because even though it's reduced reach to the front, it is slightly lower.
But regardless of that, you'd still recommend that
Bro,
seat.
I'd run that seat like over any of the others.
Yep.
Yeah.
I see
For
heaps of people
my
in the
height.
States running this. I know you're reverse watching it. We're watching you and you're watching us. But
Yeah.
I see heaps of dudes running that. Like the dudes doing crazy drifts and stunts.
Yeah.
Obviously a mix of everything, but I've seen a lot more of these like coloured ones and
Yeah, Libera do a custom seat so you can run your own branding, or
oh yeah, sick.
there's another version which has got a bit of a tail whip, I think they call that.
Yep.
It's more for your, your pill-in comfort, but
Yep.
so yeah, I mean, yeah, bar to seats dialed now.
And that's a pretty hard thing to do, especially for each person, reach, size,
Yeah.
what bike you're riding, what kind of riding you're doing. Like we've got mates shifting over to breakouts that have got tall bars that love the tall bars, and now they're going back to flat bars, and it's not expensive, man. Like that.
Oh, yeah.
That one I just that was a $2,000 test, I'll call it, and then you can still sell them for $1,400, but they're still $600 and
Yeah.
a lot of mucking around,
Yeah.
going down the drain. So this stuff is, we obviously spent a bit of time talking about it, but it is critical to enjoying riding your bike as well. So take that into big consideration before you just like the look of one, put your hand in the pocket, or put your credit card online and it rocks up and you're kind of riding it and you spend 6 months lying to yourself until you realise you probably bought the wrong setup.
Yeah.
So just touching, I know we spoke at the front brakes, and I already know the answer to this, but just for everyone watching, what did you find with the rear brake when you upgraded that rear Galfer?
Oh, instantly more fuel. Yeah. So this bike doesn't have rear ABS on it, like
Yeah.
at all.
Yep.
I've just got a brake line from the master straight to the caliper.
Yep.
So the brake does what I tell it to do,
Yep.
rather than what the ABS thinks
Yep.
I
Yep.
should be getting. So the brake works really well. Like the feeling is, like it's sweet.
Yeah.
So everyone says the brakes don't work properly on these, but it's the ABS.
Bit intrusive, yeah. And I
Yeah.
found that with my lowrider, the TC lowrider. As soon as I put that rear disc on, before I even did the ABS delete, the front felt, honestly, maybe 10% better, but the rear disc, I instantly noticed probably a 30% increase, like straight away in braking power, before I'd done the ABS delete, for
Because
the same reason.
we're both using the rear mid corner a bit to
Yeah.
control the power.
I use mine as traction control even.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's,
So that's where the stock disc couldn't dissipate the heat.
yep, yep.
So this works much better.
Yeah, it's
The wave
definitely
rider is a good thing.
seems weird, but it is a big upgrade throwing that disc on the rear.
Yeah.
I mean, you're never going to throw that on without the front, unless money just literally can't handle it. But if you were, I mean, if you're talking about gains, the rear disc is a better financial gain,
Yeah.
because it might be one of in this instance. in upgrade, but if you can afford it, definitely all-rounder, aesthetically pleasing and working properly.
Yeah.
Now, Shane, we are gapping here, which is quite rare in these days until they become more common. 3 fingers, 3-finger rule. It's good in some things, bad in others. But what are we running here?
Nitron rear shock,
Yep,
and it's set just under 14 inches roughly.
yep, yep,
It looks really tall on the side stand, of course, but
yep,
when I'm sitting on it, it's got, like a good amount of sag,
yep.
which a Harley that sits topped out on the street rides like shit.
Yeah, yeah,
So I wanted it to be compliant. I like the look of it being tall, but
yep. So you're
yeah.
really chasing that diner look
yeah,
with
yeah,
soft tail.
yeah.
Yep, yeah, nice. Yep, no, that's one for us. So, no, it sits nice. It sits nice. And even, obviously, you've just slipped the front forks down a little bit to try and match the rear. Do you feel like it's a bit back tall or front, like, does it feel pretty level?
It's slightly front down.
Yep. But when you ride that, do you feel that at all? Like, do you feel it's subconsciously?
Yeah, compared to when I jump on like a stock low rider now,
True, yep.
it feels like it's dragging its ass. Like,
Okay, yep, yep,
so yeah, my muscle memory is
yep,
based off of this, what I like.
yep, yep,
But yeah, I wanted it tall, I wanted to weight more, biased on the front if I could,
yep,
and I think I've achieved it.
yep, yep.
Yeah, Nitron shock, I went that way because they're available, they're length adjustable, preload, dampening, and they're relatively well priced.
And as an upgrade for doing the riding we're doing, do you think that's a good investment?
So the stock shock, I had an extension on it,
Yep,
and I ran that for whatever 20,000 k's.
yep.
But once I put the big motor in it, the
Overpowered
stock
it.
shock didn't like it.
Fell apart a bit.
Yeah, it was just tying itself in a knot.
Yep,
It just could not control the power.
yep, yep. No, I think that's fair.
So same thing, I was always going to change it,
Yep.
but I thought I'd at least, change it when I felt like I had to.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, stoked with this.
Now, Shane, there's a lot to talk about now. This is where most of the money is in the bike, believe it or not. But this does, in fact, have a 128 in it. What does APE call the kit that this has?
So they've got a version of this combination of parts, more or less, called the Sneaky Pete
Yep.
kit. So they sell it as a 150 horse, 150 torque potential
Yep.
combo, depending on the pipe and the intake.
So let's just start from the intake through. What have we got here?
So Screaming Eagle Ventilator Extreme, to me, has it's tucked in nice to the motor, so good knee clearance.
Yeah. Yep.
Flows really well. The difference between the filter on or off is like a couple of numbers
Yep.
on a dyno.
And just for the people, rain sock.
Rain sock on all the time.
And people probably some people don't care, some people do. Rain sock difference if you run a number.
Doesn't.
It wouldn't even
It's
pull.
negligible. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I run it because I like the look of it being black.
Yeah.
But it also keeps all the bugs out the front side as well.
And I do it because they get so dirty. They suck
Yeah.
that red through so quick and they look a bit ugly.
Yeah, I think it looks better.
Yeah. And coming through from the filter, what's next?
So it's got a 64mm throttle body, texture ported intake manifold,
Yep.
6.2 GPS injectors,
Yep.
which that size injector is ideal for this power level.
Yep.
They're well within their duty cycle range.
Yep.
Stock heads, but with plus 1mm valves, slight cleanup on the port. I've sized the chamber volume to the pistons to achieve about 11.2
Yep.
to 1 compression.
So nothing crazy psycho high.
Yeah,
comp.
the numbers, between 11.2, 11.3, like, you can get real scientific with that. But,
Yep.
yeah, I've done alright with it because the manifold and throttle body was gifted to me.
Yeah, nice.
The barrels come off another motor that was hurt.
Yep.
So I found a set of 10th hour over.
Yep.
pistons which were dished, so which is why I had to size the head chamber
Yep.
volume to achieve my target comp. The camshaft is the grinder's a Socorama 515.
Yep.
So
That's the
it's
new grind.
relatively new. Yeah,
Yep.
it's not a crazy wild cam.
Yep.
Like it's real smooth to ride.
Yep. Yep.
I wanted pretty good instant torque, a big fat mid-range,
Yeah.
and power to about 6 grand.
Yeah.
So on the roller, it peaked at 6100.
Yep.
So I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Wow.
Could have put a bigger cam in it, made more power, but it would have taken a bit off the bottom or
Yep.
changed the rideability.
And
Like I
obviously,
said, it's done like 34,000 Ks.
yeah.
14 of that's on the new motor.
And obviously now these bikes are starting to get to that 150, 160 plus.
Yeah.
How concerned are you? Obviously, it's a hot topic I've seen online with the crank sort of making this sort of power.
Yeah, I feel like your sort of 150 is where you want to cap your power on a stock crank.
Yep.
I'd put an S&S crank in it if we're targeting 160 plus,
Yep.
or there's other options, of course.
Is that something that you would do first, or is it something you would wait for?
Well, definitely, yeah. If you're building a motor and know it's going to produce 160 plus potential power,
Yep.
you'd put a crank in it.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, you don't want to build a motor and hope it holds together.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't, if the
You're-
crank moves, you wipe out the oil pump, you trash all your parts.
Yep. Yeah.
Like-
No, that's some good advice.
And it depends what you're doing with it, of course, too. Like, if I beat on this relentlessly on the drag strip with a soft tyre, no doubt in my mind,
You would.
I'd
Yeah.
shift the crank.
Because you always spoke about running a number, and I was always concerned
Yeah.
about you throwing it out there. But have you
Yeah.
still thought about doing that?
Oh, yeah, I'm a racer. Like, I'd like to do it one day, but
Yep.
I'm not really in a hurry.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I don't need to
Prove anything.
do
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does what I want it to do.
And obviously, probably the hardest part about choosing anything, I honestly think, on a Harley is the exhaust.
Yeah, so it was always going to be a stainless 2-to-1,
Yep.
something with a stepped header, tucked up for ground clearance. I had the same brand pipe on my 114 combo,
Yep.
but I squashed it. The bike fell over. We can talk about that if we want or not.
Yeah,
But-
it fell over doing about 60,
Yeah.
70, doing something on the front of the seat. But yeah,
Yeah.
we've got this pipe here.
So this pipe was, at the time, a revision to his lineup of options for this bike.
Yep.
It's known as a high output. So triple stepped header, so inch 7/8, straight out the inlet, to stepping up to a 2.5 inch collector, 2.5 inch perf
Yep.
muffler, and at that, it was pretty loud.
Yep.
And I did some testing on it on my 114 combo,
Yep.
and it produced a horrible torque curve.
So what's the minimum sort of motor build you would need for exhaust this big?
I feel like, yeah, you sort of 120 plus cube.
Yep.
Yeah, or else like, even like this being 128 cube, I found the best combo for the best graph and compromise for numbers. I've put a 2-inch reducer in the muffler.
To put some back pressure back in
Yeah,
it.
just to slow the flow a little bit, just helps the reversion.
Yep.
And it did quieten it down a bit too,
Yep.
which is a bonus.
And it's honestly perfect. Like I was sitting in my house before listening to you come on the way, and it wasn't loud at all. It was only just, I knew he was on his way, so I was hearing out for it, and it wasn't anything crazy. And then when you open it up, it's still quite respectably loud.
Yeah, it sounds
and
good.
It sounds fat.
Yeah, it sounds good. It's got a deeper sound to it, and I tried a few different versions of that sort of insert,
Yep.
and some of them worked good on the dyno, but just produced a horrible sound.
Yep. Yep. And as a bit of a gift to the people watching, obviously this stuff is not cheap. As Shane said, he's been lucky. He's scored a lot of this stuff and hustled and worked on it himself, obviously. If you were to build a motor and you weren't a mechanic and you had to pay twin Shane to build it and he was going to charge you, what motor would you build for this M8 for you and the riding that you do?
Oh, I'd repeat this like more or less any
Yep.
day of the week. Yeah, if you're someone that's you got the opportunity to spend, you kind of need. It's a lot of money, but like you can lose 15k pretty quickly
Yeah, yep,
if you're paying retail.
yep,
But yeah, honestly, if you don't want to spend that much money, 5 grand, which is still a reasonable amount of money to spend, but that gets you what I had as a 114.
yep,
So cam, intake, pipe, assembled, tuned, like right out. That's kind of your budget.
yep, yep,
It's going to vary shop to shop and where you live and whatever, but
yeah,
more or less that's kind of the number you need.
yep,
And we saw 125 horse and you sort of 135 to 140 foot-pound,
yep.
which is like enough power.
Yeah, definitely,
Like
definitely.
we talk about twin cam days, you had to spend a lot more than that
Oh yeah,
to achieve that power level.
yeah, and you could sort of then tiptoeing around reliability as well, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and kind of defeats the purpose of enjoying a bike.
Yeah, so to rewind back, like I did, 20,000 Ks as a cam only, package,
Yep,
and I loved it. Like it was really like sounded cool,
yep,
had enough power to have fun.
yep,
But yeah, I was always gonna build a big motor one day, and yeah, I just hustled and working on all the boys' bikes, and you know, scoring a few parts here and there, selling some parts.
yeah.
I pieced together more or less what I've got now,
Oh, it's a super cool bike. It's super
and
cool,
yeah,
and
I'm
it's
stoked.
honestly the best way to explain it, guys. I've got a lowrider S 110 that makes 115, 130 foot-pound, and when we race, the best way I can explain it is like racing a Tesla. It's like, it's hurtful. It just goes like that. There's no dragging my front wheel with the back wheel. It's just like, it's instant. It's actually insane. So if you're thinking about what you're trying to do and you're sort of doing the same sort of riding as us and you like what you see, I highly recommend it. I mean, I refuse to ride it, so I can't tell you what it's like to ride because I'm not ready to drop 50 grand plus selling my bike, building one right now. But it is spastically fast. Like, it's definitely faster than I thought it was going to be. Put it that way. I thought my bike would have half a chance on a rolling race, or even not a chance, but to stay somewhere. But it's just like I said, it's like racing electric cars. Just
And on the street, the sort of riding, where we can play around in, Mexico and stuff like that. When we jump the border, and it's the acceleration is what I wanted.
yeah, it's
I
crazy.
wasn't chasing a peak number
Yeah,
on
yeah,
a graph or a quarter mile time.
yeah,
If I wanted to chase the terminal speed and an elapsed time, I'd change the cam.
yeah,
I'd pull that bung out.
and let it sing up top.
Yeah, but
No, I wouldn't change it.
a bike that runs fast like drag race time
Yep.
isn't necessarily a fast street bike.
Nah, we've seen that.
Yeah.
We've seen it heaps of, not heaps, but guys that, we go out riding with crew that we've met and they tell us some numbers and you put them next to each other and you don't see those numbers.
Yeah, not unless you can go like third,
Oh, yeah.
fourth, rev it all the way out.
Yeah,
Use that extra bit of top end.
yeah.
But
And you
yeah,
feel like when you ride this bike, you're really working for it as well. You
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
you're hurting it to get it to do
Yeah.
that stuff. But this combo is what I would best way to explain it's effortless.
smooth roll on, like my daily ride, jump on the freeway and then I'm into the city. Like it does it effortlessly. I can tool around in traffic and put fuel in it wherever.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
not limited to, only one servo in Adelaide.
Yep, yep. Nah, Shane, I appreciate you coming on again.
No problem.
Showing us your bike. Obviously, I'm super jealous. I try and hold it all in. And guys, if you got any questions or you might have a motor build you want to share with us, drop a comment. I hope you like the video. And yeah, it's probably a dream list for me, a bike like this. Just with that kind of power. Obviously, it is expensive, but they're definitely more a refined bike. Obviously, there's heaps of die-hard dyno guys, and I love them myself. They got a lot of character, but when it comes to like riders who like to have a bike that's stable in the hills and stuff like that, this is definitely the way to go. So guys, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.
Better hope that you never see me agitated. I think about my actions, plan them out, evaluated. That's how I end up on the top, man, I'm calculated. My mind's a weapon, my body